Hello, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video, we'll be focusing on variables, casting, conversion, kind of data types that we have. Just I guess sequence in which is a manner of writing or coding your logic with. So your sequence must be in order, but I'll show you guys what I mean by that. Anyway, so on the previous video we already did this short practical or short application where we're calculating the bonus airtime or data that a user or a person will get when they recharge of a certain amount, a bonus of 20% to the certain amount they enter, and then they get a bonus of 20% to that, added together, of course. So yeah, we did that. It was working. Can just running down, running now to show you guys. Wait a sec. And yeah, here it is, a short application that we did. So if you input any double here, double means any number, any real number, actually decimal, integers, whatsoever. If you input 10, so the user is supposed to get 12 rand bonus, 2 rand bonus added to the 10 rand, which is 12 rand in total. And then if you input anything, it can be maybe 80 rand or 80.5 or anything supposed to calculate 100 then 120. So basically this is what we did. We calculated the 20% bonus to whatever amount the user enters here, and then take that bonus, add it to the recharge, and then to give us the total amount of airtime we have here. Anyway, so today's video we're going to be focusing making this application, perfecting it, actually, if I might say, because we're going to be using casting. We didn't use casting here. We didn't use casting, and it's very important when it comes to coding and applicating or programming. Anyways, variables, this is how you declare. We said this is said to be declaring. This is declaring a variable, which is a word you're going to be using to store information of a certain data type, where a data type is a keyword, or a keyword in the application and this program, which is used to define the information of the variable you're going to be storing in that variable. I hope it makes sense. For example, if you're here, you're going to be storing, this will be stored, used to get input from the user. What kind of input? Decimal kind of input, because airtimes can have commas, something, decimals. So in order to accommodate the commas, we declare it as a double, né? And then if maybe it was said in the scenario that only the user or the person will input integers or whole numbers, not negative, positive, obviously, because an airtime can have a negative. Anyway, maybe positive integers only, then we would have declared this as an integer here. While on that, we also have different kind of data types. We have double, as you can see here. We have integer. We have integer for whole numbers, negative and positive. And then here we have also string, which we say it's a collection of characters. For example, your name, or this here. This is a collection of characters. Even a space bar is a character on that note. String. And then we also have, if we have string, then therefore we're gonna have a char, which is just used to store a single character. It can be any alphabetical letter, a number, or any special case, but then it only stores a single character. And then we also have what we call boolean, which has two uses of it. We only have two uses of boolean, or two functions in it, which is true or false. So you can, when you declare a variable as a boolean, that variable can either be set or assigned as true or false. That's it. You'll see where where this will be useful at in future videos or future practicals that we'll be solving. Anyways, so these are the we have many data types. We have long, which is used when storing a big number. Integer can only store up to a certain number. And then long, yeah, you get to say, I don't know where you're gonna be using long, but in case where you get an error saying is it out of bounds, or I'm not sure if it's out of bounds or out of memory, I'm not sure. But then yeah, there's a case where integer can the information that you store in an integer variable, the variable can actually store that information in memory, because the integer data type or keyword can hold such or that amount of information, so you have to use long. Yeah. I think so far though we'll be dealing with or focusing on integers, double, string, maybe char and boolean. That's all. Anyway, that's all about data types. Back to what we had before. Also variables. There are rules on how, or like the kind of variables you must use or formulate. First of all, your variable can have or can start with a number. Any number. Your variable cannot start with a number. That's a must. Cannot start with a number, but it can have a number in between or at the end. It doesn't matter. It can have recharge one, whatever. This is okay, but it cannot start with a number. And again, a variable cannot have a space bar or a space between. For example, if you wanted to say this is total time, this is not acceptable. You cannot have a space bar in between your variable, so rather you can use an underscore if you wanna make your variable more sensible or write it in full. You can just say you can put underscore in between. What else? Also, your variable cannot be any keyword reserved in this application. For example, you cannot say integer as a double. This is a reserved keyword. You cannot use reserved keywords as your variables. Yeah, that's all. I hope that's understandable. That's all about variables. Yeah, what am I missing? So with that being said, we're gonna be adding more information to what we already did here. Yeah, I'm gonna showcasing you guys converting whatsoever, casting, and then after we did this, we're gonna be attempting to do another practical at the end of this lesson I'm giving you guys. Anyway, so on the last practical, we only had two variables. First one responsible for storing information that we get from the user. The second one responsible for outputting the total amount of airtime. And then we're gonna be adding another variable here, a helping variable actually, responsible for storing this part here. Well, this is okay. There's nothing wrong with this. There's literally nothing wrong with this. But if you just want to make your code have look and feel, they say, and look, well, it won't change the look, but then I think it's gonna be more simple to understand what's happening here, because here I'm just calculating the bonus and then adding it to the initial amount or recharge amount, and then taking that information and storing it into the total airtime, and then here display that total airtime to the text box. So I'm doing everything in a single line. So just to make your code maybe more clearer and understandable, you can have another variable here. Maybe just call this one bonus, and then declare is as a double. Why is a double? Because first of all, 20 divided by 100, it's already a decimal number. It's already giving us a decimal number, so you cannot declare a bonus here as an integer. Also, the recharge amount, it cannot be integer because the user can enter an amount which has decimals. And then also, if the bonus is double, the recharge is double, obviously the total amount of airtime can also be double. Nah, I hope it makes sense. Anyway, there's a bonus, and then can just say comment here. This will be to calculate yeah, the spelling sharp me there. Calculate the 20% bonus, and then yeah, so instead of doing everything in single line, here I'm just going to add the bonus part, and then assign it to this part here. Assign it to this part here. And then here I'm just going to call the bonus. So I don't know, you can also calculate the 20% of recharge. Well, this is calculating the total amount of airtime now. Total amount of airtime. And then here you can just simply say calculating the bonus. Again, comments helps the programmer or the person that will be viewing the code or reviewing the code to understand what's happening on that certain block of lines or certain line of code. Did I say? Yeah, block of lines of code. Or certain line of code. Anyway, calculating the bonus. Just nice and simple, nothing complicated. And then yeah, so this by the way, I said what we did here is called assignment because we're taking information, assigning it to something or equating it to something. It's called assignment, or yeah, assignment. Here we are assigning this text box or the information that we'll be getting from this text box to this variable here. And then here we're taking calculating whatever using the recharge that we got from the text box, calculating the bonus, and then storing it or assigning it to this bonus variable. And then here we're taking the bonus variable, adding it to the recharge to give us the total amount of airtime, and then storing it into the variable. And then here we are displaying or assigning this text box, assigning this information inside the total amount of, what am I saying? Assigning this information here to this text box. So this is getting input information from the user. This is actually displaying information to the user via text boxes. Yeah, via text boxes. Which text boxes am I talking about? These ones. How did we? Yeah, this is the first text box, and then the second text box. This is where the user inputs information. This is where the calculated information is outputted or is output. Anyways, yeah, so well, what did I want to say? Oh yeah, most cases the number of inputs and outputs, the number of your inputs and outputs together, the total number of your inputs and outputs together that you get when analyzing a scenario. So in this case we had two, one input and one output. So the total number of inputs and output that we have is 2. Most of the cases you also gonna have your text boxes, the number of text boxes that you're gonna be having in your program, in your application, or when designing it. Most of the cases will be equal to the number of input and outputs that you have, and also the number of variables, excluding the helping variables. The number of variables that you're gonna be having will be equal to the number of inputs and output that you have, excluding the helping variable. In this case, excluding this one, the middle one that we just put now, If we exclude this one, you can see that the number of variables that I have is equal to the number of text boxes that I have, and it's also equals to the number of inputs and output that I had or have actually. So I hope it makes sense. I think it will make more sense when we're doing the practical at the end. So I'm going to be showcasing the casting now. Well, what is casting converting? It is advised that each and every time when you do your application of application, you must include this option statement. I'll explain what each does in this program. You just go like option. Wait, why? Okay, option strict on, and option explicit on. So strict forces you. Which one here is this, strict or is this explicit? But I think strict, it forces you to convert. Yes, you see, and I'm not getting errors here. I'm not getting errors. Why am I getting errors? Because recharge is a variable which is declared as a double, and then a text box already can get a sense of it's gonna have to be involved with anything that's gonna do with text or string or words, if I might say. So, and words is it's an form of a string data type. So everything here, what I just highlighted now, you can just take it as a string data type. I don't know if that makes sense. And then this one, as you get here, is in the form of a double data type. So these and these, you cannot assign them because you cannot assign x and y if x and y are not equal. So they should be equal. So you're supposed to convert maybe y to x and then be able to assign them. I hope it makes sense. I really hope it makes sense. And in the process of doing that, converting is called casting or conversion. So that's the use of strict. Explicit forces us to declare a variable before using it. I didn't try this. I think before, if this was off, let me just see. If this was off, I don't think I'll be getting an error if I just say a random variable, maybe what time. Mind you, we did not declare any variable for airtime here at the top, as you can see. So I can just say airtime equals to, let me see if it's gonna be 20. You see, there is no error in this. We have not declared this variable, but there's no error in it. So for us to get this an error in doing this, because we have not declared this variable here airtime, if option explicit is on, not off, now we'll be getting an error. So even if you go here and then put your cursor on the variable or anywhere where the error is occurring, just put your cursor there, and then a pop-up will show, an error pop-up will show explaining what's the error about. Here it says time is not declared. It may be inaccessible due to it, whatever. So each and every time you're gonna be doing applications, or you're gonna be doing an application, this will always be there. There's another one which I didn't want to include because I don't know what it does so far, but now I'm just gonna include it, and then I'll go check it out. Oh, wait, let me just check it out now. Option info and VB. When you set option info to on, you can declare local variables. Oh yeah, without explicitly stating a data type. Oh, okay. So we're gonna be setting our. Oh, okay, yeah, I get it now. So we have what we call local variables and global variables. So I'm gonna be explaining. Oh yeah, I must also touch on that. So it says if we set an info option info on, you can declare local variables without explicitly stating a data type. So we're gonna be setting it off. That means you're gonna be forced to declare variables with explicitly stating a data type, the opposite of what's happening here, in a way, in a sense. So while on that note, we have what we call global variables and local variables. These are called global variables. Why? Because these variables will be accessed or can be accessed anywhere inside of this class. Remember, we call this our class where our code goes in. Our code will be going in this class. Every code that we do will be coding it inside of this class. And then the variables that we declare at the top, they are called global because they can be accessed in each and every code. Like, you can access them everywhere inside this class. And then a local variable, for example, let me just make this a comment, a comment, and then make a very local variable here. This is how you make a local variable. Dim recharge as double. It's still gonna work, but then the problem is now this recharge will only be accessed inside this button. Sorry about that. Yeah, this recharge will only be accessed inside this button, and then you cannot access it outside of this button. Maybe if we had another button in here which does something, you wouldn't be able to access this recharge variable because it's a local variable. You can only access it inside the constructor, or inside what should I say, is it the function, a function that you declare in this is called the subroutine. But then you cannot use it everywhere inside the class. That's a local variable. And bonus variable, a global variable, you can use it anywhere inside your class. This recharge variable, I can also use it if there was another button or anything under here, then I would also be able to call it and use it. I hope that makes sense. So we're not going to be doing with local variables for now. And then back to casting. So now we are forced to cast because this is on. And then how do you cast? So remember, this is a string. It's in the form of string, and then this is a double. So we must convert this to a double so that it can match this. I don't know if that makes sense. And then to cast, you can simply say C DBL for double, and then put the thing in brackets inside the brackets. This is how you do casting. So this can go. So here I'm converting this information that I'm getting from the text box, which is in the form of a string. I'm converting it to a double and then assigning it to a variable which is declared as a double. I hope that makes sense. And then here there's no problem because this information, like I said, it will be in the form of a decimal, so it's okay. There's no need to convert since our variable is in the form of a double. Same as here. And then here it's complaining because we're giving and we're assigning an information of a double to a string. So also must convert this to a string so that this could match. How do we do that? The same as how we did here, except it won't be CDBL. It will be CSTR for converting, STR for string, converting to string. So this is how you do the casting or the converting part. Hope it makes sense. That's all about casting. You can also cast something to an integer. Let's also see. Let me just try. Let's assume. Well, this will gonna complicate things. Well, there's also cint for converting something to integer. So we have cdbl, cint, and cstr. That's all we have. Is it? Well, there are many features. There's also feature, but we won't be using many. We won't be using some of these. We're only gonna be using a lot. We're gonna be using cdbl, cint, and then cstr to convert. That's all. Otherwise, that's all that I wanted. A sequence. A sequence. That's just that your code must be in logical order or in sequence, because you can't calculate. For example, you can't put this here You can't put it here while you have not yet what's that got your recharge assign. What am I trying to say? Well, yeah, the thing must be in logic. This getting information from the user must come first, and then calculating after. You can't start with calculating. Well, I think now it's gonna work. It's going to work. It won't give you errors, but then just for good practice and just to make your code to have more sense in it, you just have to use good sequence in your code. So start with what you need and then going like to what you expected to output. And then I hope that makes sense. So you can calculate first while and then get the information after. This won't give, again, this one I don't think it's gonna give an error. Let me run and see. I don't think it's gonna give an error or it's gonna complain, but it's not a good practice to do this because it doesn't make sense here what you're doing. You're using recharge while you haven't and then after you're getting the recharge from the user. Doesn't make sense. But then yeah, oh okay, yeah, it does not work. It does not work because why? Does it? Oh, ooh, well, it's kind of working. It doesn't work actually. It doesn't work. 65. No, it does not work. It does not work at all. It's giving incorrect information or incorrect calculations because the sequence is bad. It's not good. So for good practice, just make sure your sequence is in order. Yeah, in order for you to get correct information. Anyways, with that being said, I think that's all for for lessons. So now I'm just going to be attempting to do the practical that you said you're gonna be doing. So you're gonna be creating a new project. What is it doing? We're gonna be creating a new project. You can close this solution. Don't mind it. Create a new one. Windows Forms app.net frameworks. Don't forget. And then we'll name this one preg_01 and then be saved. Be saved here, and then we create. So on our scenario, on the practical that we're gonna be doing, I won't post this. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if authorized to do so. Also, I'm not sure if I'm authorized. I'm not 100% sure if I'm authorized to use this practical question papers because they are from University of Johannesburg, as you can see. I did this on my first year. I was doing them on my first year. So I'm not entirely sure, but I won't be posting them. I'm just going to be using them on these videos. So in this thingy practical, well, whatever, we're not interested in this. So we have a problem here, a given problem. As you can see, this practical was focusing on declaring of variables, input and output, sequence and casting, which is just what I covered on today's video. So anyways, now we have a problem here. It says body mass index is a simple calculation using a person's height and weight. The formula is given by this BMI, body mass index, equals to kilograms, which I believe is the weight, and then divided by meter squared, which is the height, where kg is the person's weight and in kilograms, and m is the height in meter squared. Your lectures have been skipping gym and not getting a lot of exercise due to working from home. They have asked you to develop a visual basic application that will allow them to calculate their BMI. Your program should inform your lecturers what their BMI score is. Already you can see that this is an output because you're expected to output to the user or to the lecturers. This is your output, and then your inputs. If you're reading, because we are calculating body mass index, and body mass index is used by the calculations. they must have you'll be using the person's weight and the person's height, so you must get this information from the user. You can't you can't just assume the height and the weight of a person. So this information is what you're going to be getting from the user, which is the input. So we're going to be having two inputs, the person's weight the person's weight in kilograms. This is very important. In meters, height in meters squared, and the height in meters squared. And also we are expected to allow them to calculate the BMI. Program should inform the lecturers what their BMI score is. This is the output that you are expected to output, that your program is expected to output to the users. And then as for the action that will be taking place, well, we'll be calculating the BMI, calculating, allow them to calculate, we'll allow them to calculate their BMI. This is the action that we'll be doing. We'll basically be calculating the BMI of these lectures and then outputting it to them. So as I said, well, most of the cases, the number of inputs and outputs together that we have show that or tells us how many text boxes we're going to have, and also the number of variables we're going to have of inputs and outputs. And then also the number of actions that we have tells us the number of buttons that we're going to have. In this case, we're only calculating a single thing. We're only doing single calculations. So we're only going to have a single button. So let's go and design it. Let me just be a bit faster. The plan is to make this video 45 minutes. Lessons and practical, 45 minutes or less, not longer than 45 minutes. So you can you can simply just resize this thingy and then design. Remember, we're going to be using these controls on your left hand side under common ones, and then we're going to be having two text boxes, that means two labels, or three text boxes, that means three labels actually, and then text boxes you can just do copy and paste. The first one responsible for height or weight, actually weight, and then the first one responsible for what's happening? Okay, the first one responsible for height, and then the third one responsible for body mass index score. I can just put this in there. Oh, also we're gonna need a button, something like this. Anyways, now let's rename each and everything here. We rename them under properties. First, we rename the form. To change this from 1 to whatever, you change it under appearance. Under appearance, on the option for text, on the space for text, you change that weight to whatever. So we're dealing with BMI score, so you can just say BMI score, because that's what we're going to be calculating. And then also you can change the design part from form 1 to FRM BMI. And then labels, I won't be changing the design part. I won't be changing the appearance part, because as you have seen, we have not anywhere in code associated with labels or called any label. So I'm just going to change okay, here's gonna be weight. I'm just going to change the appearance only. Hope that's okay. There's no need to change the design part. And then this is just going to be BMI score, and then the button, we change both the can just say calculate here. Calculate. Ooh, therefore, language. Anyway, what am I saying? Calculate. And then also change the design patch on button btn calc, short for calculate. And then text boxes will only change the design part. This one is responsible for weight, so it's going to be txt weight, and then txt height, txt score, or PMs or something. So that's all we have. So in order to go to the coding part, you're just gonna press F7. With it, F7, and then this is what you're gonna get. And remember, before doing continuing coding, first thing that you must include is your option statements. It's good practice to include those. Explain option explicit on, option strict on, option info off. Why off? Because we don't want to declare our variables without a data type whatsoever. So when option info is off, we are forced, when in case we use a local variable, we are forced to declare it with a data type. Hope it makes sense, because it's the opposite of the definition we just got from the internet. Anyway, with that being said, so we're now going to be declaring our variables. Remember, commenting, declaring variables. So we're gonna need 3 so far. That's all we can think of. The 2 for inputs, 1 for output. So we're gonna have private weight as, remember, weight can come as decimal, so it's gonna be double. And then private, not property, private height as a double, cause and then private score, or BMI score actually. Let me just say what BMI just say score as a double. Why as a double? Our height is a double, our weight is a double, so our score is just supposed to be a double. And then I won't be explaining commenting what each does, because you already know it's weight. It's going to be taking weight information, height information, BIM score, BMI score, body mass index score. And then for the action, are we going to be needing a helping variable? Because we're only going to be taking the weight and then dividing by the meters and then square. I don't think we need a helping variable. You can also only use the score to calculate these calculations and then display them to the user. So let's just do that quick. In order to do your calculations, they have to be inside that button. That's where the actions happens, or the process happening. So just go to your design, click on the calc button, and then double click it, and then they take you inside the button, and then this is where the calculations will be happening. First thing first, remember sequence. We have to get the information from the user. How do we do that? We have to get the weight and the height information. Let's start with the weight. Weight equals to txt weight, text plus weight dot text. Remember, we don't want this thing of me getting used to Java. It's not okay. Anyway, text, and then it's gonna complain and say this is not right, because option strict on disallows implicit conversions from string to double. So now we must explicitly convert explicitly convert this to a double. As I showed you before, it's just going to be cdbl, and then put this inside brackets. Or also you can comment here, you say getting weight information from user, getting weight and height info from user. from user. And then here we're gonna get the height information, cdbl into txt height dot text, and then from there, using the information that we have or that we got from the user, we're gonna calculate our body mass index. So it's just going to be score equals to, remember they said it's weight divide by this. I think we'll have to be something like this. Height. Well, you can just simply say height multiplied by height, because it's, remember they said our height is in meters squared. So you can just say height. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. You can just say height multiplied by height, or you can just simply say height to the power 2. This also works. This also works. This also works. So I'm saying here height to the power 2, or height squared. Weight divided by height squared, actually, in short. Yeah. And then from there, you can just say comment, add a comment, calculating BMI, and then here comment displaying BMI, displaying body mass index. How do we display? We display to the text box. Call the text box what you want to display to. Txt score dot text equals to CSTR. Convert the score to string in order for it to be assigned to text box. And then this is it. This is how you should have solved the problem that we had. Was complaining variable height complete with property, and in the base class control, and should be declared shadows. This let me change it to something. Okay, small letter H. Maybe don't complain anymore. Complaining about something. Let me see. Wait, is it complaining anymore? No, it's not. Is it going to give problems if I just run it like this? But then yeah, this is how you should have solved your problem or thingy. The weights, let's just say 50 kg, and then height 1.5, 1.5 squared, I don't know how much that is, and then calculate this mass, and then let's just put the whole number in 6. Gonna 50 divided by 4 is it let's just say 2 meters. 2 meters squared is 4. 50 divided by 4, I don't know how much that is, but it must be some, yeah, something like this. So yeah, this is how you should have. I think on the next practical I'm gonna be showing you guys how to, because now you can say that if you calculate this, you get a long number here, how to restrict it from outputting a long to outputting maybe 2 decimal places, to 2 decimal places, or 3 decimal places, or to just a whole number. And also, yeah, so yeah, this is all for this current practical, or for this video. I hope it made sense. I hope it made sense. There was nothing hectic about this. We didn't do anything hectic. We haven't done anything hectic. It's just just that the only thing, I think, yeah, I think just that we didn't use different data types, because we used data doubles here. We didn't use integers, we didn't use strings, but we're gonna get to use them in future. Why is this happening? What is happening? Anyway, that's all for today. Don't mind what I did here. I don't know what I did. For some reason this thing can't do undo. I don't know what's happening, and there's no undo here, so but it's okay. That's all for today. If you have any question or any comment, just comment it below in the comment sections, or anything that you want me to touch on, or anything that I missed, any clarification that you want me to touch on the next video, just comment below. And then yeah, likewise, please subscribe, share, and share the link to whoever you might know that might need this kind of help. And then yeah, hope you have a great day there.